right. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good morning on this cooler, little cooler Tuesday. It's really loud. I don't know how to control it, so I'll just. That's not okay. Just for me. My name is Hope McCutcheon, and I am one of the hosts of today's Ce-2 event. And raise your hand if this is your very first time attending. Welcome, glad to have you. So, yes, definitely welcome. A little bit of background, we've been going on since 2015. We started in the iLab at UVA, which is a great venue, great space. And every third Tuesday of the month, we have two speakers. We have an early stage company, it shares about their company, but then they have an ask for you to engage and help them solve a problem or a barrier to growth. Help them grow and expand. And then after that, we have a more seasoned entrepreneur, usually 15, 20-year plus, that shares about their crash and learn stories. So kind of things you wouldn't typically get to hear. You don't see it in news articles necessarily. And you get to hear some of those stories. And I found that no matter what your background, it's a great opportunity to learn. And this event is put on by a number of organizations, Ce-2, Charlottesville Business Innovation Council, Community Investment Collaborative, or CIC, the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center, and then we are sponsored by the Batten Institute at UVA and Watermark Design. So we can go ahead, and then we do networking on the front end and hopefully the back end if we have time as well. And we also tune in webcast out for those that couldn't be here in person. So we can go ahead and get started. And we do have Q&A at the end, by the way, for the second speaker. So to introduce today's early stage, I'm going to pull up some notes, okay? All right, so we have Oheniwa Anna, who is a multi-talented entrepreneur. She has a foundation in digital art and marketing and has successfully helped companies worldwide brand development and marketing through her company Brush Pick, which is going to be talking about today. She grew up in Swaziland and came to the U.S. when she was 18 to go to college here. She started in Florida and went to Ringling College of Art and Design. She got her bachelor's in computer animation and then came to Virginia, just saw an opportunity to start and grow her business here. And some of her accomplishments are she was featured on a local TV show in Ghana, having a short film featured at a film festival, and she also taught groups of adults and young adults computer animation. And then her hobbies are painting, traveling, audiobooks, and just helping people. So I'm excited for Oheniwa to share with you, and then she'll have an ask for you to help at the end. So I will pass the mic over.
Hello. Hi, everyone. So my name is Oheniwa Ano, and I'm going to share a bit about my business. And this is a little bit about what you won't see. Some of the work that I've done kind of in my spare time. Sculpture art, character design, 3D rendering, little coasters, which I got obsessed with last year, resin painting, and I've been here about 1 month, and I just love to work on any kind of design. So this video playing is kind of a quick demo of some of the work that we do. Logo animation, and down below are some of the business principles that I like to follow: innovation, trust, freedom, positivity, and passion. Website design is another one of the services that I provide. And this is just an animation showing the website a little more interesting. I was in Alaska for some years, and those are some of my clients from Alaska, their websites. And this is an example of 3D rendering, which I'm going to talk about more. This is not a photo, it's actually an interior and exterior of a space, and of a restaurant interior, and it's really helpful for people who want to have an idea how things will be placed in a space, or that was my first client. He had sketches of furniture, and I just made a photorealistic version so that he could share that with investors. Logo design is one of the first branding services, so just catering according to the specific need, like puzzled minds in the center, for children who need more sensory stimulation, and kind of playing with the brand name, with the imagery, and so on. And with 3D, some of the other uses is like taking a business interior and seeing what kind of renovations would look like before you go into construction. So image on the left is a photo of what it was, and image on the right is a 3D render. And I was a little bit too optimistic with that sculpture, that I was gonna make a wood sculpture. That didn't work out, but everything else, they built the wall. And here's another angle, top left, you see the bird's eye view, and this is another angle, kind of highlighting the company values and just little details to help with the vision. In the kitchen, hard to believe that it's the same dimensions, but we actually look at the plans and make items fit exactly in the space. And yeah. So website design, as mentioned earlier, can extend to all the branding materials, from the letterhead to the business cards to the book, to the logo on all kinds of business swag. My client, Jagged Sky Benefits, put it on so many things, little holders and cups. So here's another example, and I like this one because it's a nice balance with the bright colors and showing a professional look, but still somehow friendly. And social media content creation is another thing that naturally flows from our services as well. And logo animation, this can be 3D or 2D. This is an example of a business logo animation, kind of completely custom made. And here is one of my old clients. Just for fun, I made a video kind of demonstrating.
Our job as loan advisors is to make sure you get the right financing to fit those needs.
So that video is just a small example of video editing that we do as well. And that is basically all the different services that we provide. So my goal is to provide beautiful functional design services to medium to large companies across the nation with a system that can be replicated internally. So right now, I've been working with a lot of small and startup businesses. So my goal is basically to scale up. And this includes streamlining processes with a bigger team, each team member specializing in one aspect, competitive full-time salaries. Right now, I have had people on and off on, right now it's only myself as full-time. And it's a lot of work, and but I love it. I just want to have a nice system And I think scaling up will help me afford to pay someone to specialize and help me with that. What has been done already? Everything I've done so far has helped to a degree, but not in a major way, including online platforms such as Fiverr, Freelancer, Upwork, business networking groups such as the Chamber of Commerce, BNI, YPG, promotions such as limited time discounts, cold calling, cold emailing, cold direct messaging, which didn't help at all. Email marketing, social media outlets, referral incentives. New things that I think will work, maybe not to the degree I need with the capital I have. High ad budget for Google calls and landing pages. I know this because one of my clients, we spend about $9,000 in ads per month and they get great results. Multiple business reps in different states. So I don't know if my question was clear there. I can just go back to that screen. Okay. My question is to how I can grow and reach medium to large companies across the nation with the system part, I can figure that out, but I want to be able to reach medium to large companies.
So she's wanting some thoughts on expansion essentially and scaling, and her thoughts are to target medium to large size companies to increase her revenue and to ultimately be able to position herself to hire as well. So do you guys have thoughts for her, ideas as she is pursuing that growth?
So you said you have a client that's spending $9,000 a month on Google Ads, and it's been bringing really good results. And I feel like that should be in the presentation. Like there was a lot in there about the features, I think, of what you do. Like we do these color contrasts and showing the examples of your work, which is really helpful. But as a business owner, for me, hearing, oh, we help this client get such and such result Google Ads. Like emphasizing the benefit, because there are so many companies that do this type of design. One way to, like, I don't know, to differentiate yourself so people really know this is what you get with us, like a proven result, I think could be helpful.
Yeah, I'll just second that. I wasn't quite sure how you differentiate yourself from other companies. Like I've seen a lot of, like I have a company, we have between 7 and 10 employees, depending on the year. And I just wasn't quite sure, like I've seen this pitch from several companies around town, similar ones. I just wasn't sure how you differentiate yourself. I'm sorry to say that, but it's clear to me.
I wanted to add one thing. Your work is beautiful. It's fantastic. To what the guys are saying, it doesn't really stand out from other marketing and design shops. I'm a lawyer by training, and any services business automatically has built into it tons of competition. And so as a law firm, how do you differentiate yourself from the other law firm down the street? Because if you put documents on a conference room table and ask somebody to pick the difference between Cooley and Wilson Sonsini and Wilkie Farr, no one would be able to do that because all the documents look the same. So behind the document, what benefit does the law firm or does that service provider give the client that makes them feel like, oh, I'm getting more bang for my buck than just a contract or just a animated graphic logo. So one of the things that a lot of law firms do is they will partner with local capital providers, like for example, the Charlottesville Angel Network, the CAV Angel Network, whatever it may be, to create little distribution channels. So when a client gets funded, the funding source will say, you need to make yourself more professional by working with this law firm or this graphics company or this design company or things of that sort. So there's a way to not only create customer testimonials, which is what the guys were saying, this is how this business helped us and how we grew our revenue and how we were able to, but also to create distribution channels for yourself that makes you one of on the short list where someone else says, I vouch for them. These people know what they're doing. This company is really good. You should work with them. Those are two options for service providers that help differentiate. I should say something. Can I say something?
I agree. You do beautiful stuff. The thing that struck me was you do too many things. And I think if you focus on what might be the standout thing you do, you're going to have greater success. And I think that's your renderings. And I think if you hooked up with architectural firms or builders or whoever it is that needs that service, lead with that. I think that gives you the opportunity to scale as quickly as possible over all the other things you do. And then you can finance the rest through that. So I would focus at first to become really known for something individual that you do.
If you did that, you had mentioned to me that it was the 3D design that you felt was a differentiator for you?
Yeah, I did. That's actually what I got my degree in as well. But I felt as though more people needed all the other services, so I branched into that, but perhaps I didn't look to the right avenue for the 3D services.
Do you guys have thoughts on that? The 3D services is what she felt was her differentiator.
Just building on the idea of focusing in on the rendering. So I volunteer with the North Garden Fire Department. We're doing a $0.5 million building renovation right now. We're working with some of the big architects in the area. We did 3D rendering where the architectural firms did 3D rendering. It looked nothing like what you showed. It was just miles better. And there have been workable, but some disconnects in terms of what we thought we were getting versus what we're getting because of the rendering shortcomings. And I think if you, again, maybe even after some architectural firms or otherwise, I bet they would see ROI, improvements in their offering, which we pass through you get testimonies. So.
Awesome, very good feedback. Was that helpful?
Yeah. That was helpful, thank you.
And did you have something as well?
No, graceful.
Great. Great. Is that anybody else? We're good. We want to do one more. All right, let's do one last one.
Just two quick thoughts. There's a book called Obviously Awesome, April Dunford, that talks about positioning, which it sounds like everybody's already talking about differentiation. Very similar, like how do you position your service to get better results? I think that would be a good read. And then the second thing, I'm already losing it. Oh, so something that's worked for me, you mentioned like cold outreach just doesn't work. Say what?
Like 100.
100, yeah. I would even go smaller than that for cold outreach at first, just to see what works and what messaging works. So do a little bit of message testing. But also one thing that I found that works well is, so we're in like the product strategy space, product development. So I search for people who are hiring in that space, companies, and then try to find the exact people that are hiring for those roles and tasks. I know they're kind of like, they're trying to fill a need. And then I target my outreach directly to them. And I found that works a little better. Well, for us, it's not necessarily contract work. I just know that they're hiring for that need internally. So we have provided a service that fills that need. So it's like, I know they're looking for solutions there.
Did you say obviously what?
Obviously awesome.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Anawa. And yeah. Great feedback. Definitely. Okay, so we will go on to our crash and learn speaker. I'm very excited to have Dave Kapara and just a little bit of background on him. If you haven't had the chance to meet him, he's actually at the farmers market every Saturday, and you're gonna meet him today. I mean, yeah, that. Dave is actually from Chicago originally, and came to Virginia to be UVA's swimming and diving coach. When he did that he's been actually a dive coach. He was one for 41 years, and he was 23 years at UVA. So it's just kind of a fun background, fun fact about him. It's not what he currently does, but he is the owner of Ce-2 Coffee. So hopefully you are familiar with them. They have 2 locations, started back in 1983. So it's still long-standing coffee shop here locally. He also is the president of the Toilet, and just has a big impact on the community. It's also something he's very passionate about. He went to North Park College and got his bachelor's in physical education and health, and then got his master's degree in counseling at West Virginia. And he was actually, back when he was in college, he was diver of the year. So kind of back, he is married to his wife, Christy. They live here in Charlottesville, and has been a long-time entrepreneur, and is really excited to hear some of his stories. So help me welcome Dave Kapara. Okay. Okay, if you guys, he's not gonna use the mic,
Yeah.
so chat, put in the chat if you can't hear him. There. You probably won't be able to.
Yeah, good morning. I don't use a mic because I have a coach's voice. And when you've coached for 40 years on a pool deck, outside, inside, your voice tends to carry across pool decks, inside and out. One of the biggest complaints from my wife is that when I come home, I have to use an inside voice, because when I come in, I start yelling at her when I'm having a conversation, because for 41 years, it just becomes a natural way of communicating. So thanks for having me. I'm the owner of Ce-2. We've been in business since 1993. A little background before that, as Hope said, I coached at UVA for 23 years. I moved here from Santa Cruz, California. Before that, I was in Chicago, Santa Cruz, West Virginia to here. My path took me all through coaching. And I'm still involved in swimming and diving more so in a way of consulting with coaches, athletes, parents, officiating NC2As, conference championships, Olympic trials. So I'm still involved in the sport of diving, but not as much as I was when I was coaching. The coffee aspect of it, I've always loved coffee. When I lived in, like all coaches, you have a vice when you're on pool deck or fields or something. Mine just happened to be coffee. So every morning for practice, I'd be on pool deck with a cup of coffee. And we'd be coaching. And when I was out in California, I just fell in love with local coffee roasters, and supported them. Moved here to Virginia. When I moved here in '88, there really wasn't a lot of good coffee at the time. So I was doing a lot of my coffee buying from California and having it shipped here. I turned a lot of people in Charlottesville onto California coffee. One of the hardest things when she's at Crash and Burn was trying to turn people off of California coffee onto Ce-2 when I bought the company. So a little bit about the company. My wife and I are the owners, mom and pop, true mom and pop company. To say basically the easiest way to do it is that one morning I'm a firm believer in reading the classifieds, local newspaper, because that gives me a true sense of what's happening in the community. Who's opening businesses, who's looking for people. So I was looking in the classified ads one Sunday morning, and there was an ad in the paper for a coffee company for sale. And I went to my wife, I said, this would be a great idea to open up or to buy a coffee company. Her first response was, you don't know anything about coffee. And I said, that's right. I said, I know what good coffee tastes like. I know what bad coffee tastes like. So I said, I'm going to go take a look at it. So we're actually the third owners of Ce-2 Joe. So we didn't even start it. The first guy who started it had it for a year. He had visions of grandeur. It lasted a year. He sold it to another mom and pop to give the mom something to do as a hobby. They had it for 2 years, and then they just put it in the newspaper. So I went and met with them, watched what they did. I said, this would be a great company to own. Basically, because what I was going to do is feed my addiction to coffee. So I said, why pay somebody else when I could do it myself? So I was coaching at UVA at the time. I was also teaching at the Ivy Creek School at the time. I don't know if people are familiar with the Ivy Creek School. It's a school for behavioral and emotional disturbed kids. So I was doing that at the time. I was coaching UVA, and I also own a swimming pool company that we service pools in the community. Commercial pools, residential pools. We did lifeguards. We did snack bar kids. So for about 2 or 3 years, we had 96 children working for us, all between the ages of 15 and 21. They're lifeguards, pool cleaners, snack bar kids. And I was doing probably 8 or 9 pools at the time, besides coaching and teaching and trying to take over Ce-2 Joe. So I've been blessed with the abundance of energy. So it has nothing to do with coffee. This is all energy that I have. So I made an offer to the people for Ce-2 Joe. They took our offer. The first thing I did was they had a gentleman who was roasting for them. His name was Javier. And the first thing I did with Javier was I asked him how much he was making an hour. He told me. I gave him a $3 an hour raise right on the spot and said, may I have you for 10 months? So I basically became an apprentice for my own company for 10 months. So that was my very first move was that. So when I got done coaching, we set up the schedule so I could watch him roast, ask him questions about roasting. And the company was all wholesale at the time. They had like 11 customers, not a big company, just 11 local people in town. So for about 10 months, I followed him, asked him questions. And then on top of that, I started creating relationships with exporters. I went to Origin and met farmers because it's a relationship-built business. I'm a firm believer in being loyal to people and keeping relationships. So that's the first thing. After about 10 months, I felt that I could start roasting on my own. I learned the basics of roasting. I completely changed my way of looking at coffee and drinking it. I was basically dark roasted all the time. And the more I started roasting, I understood that there's other flavors to coffee besides dark roast. So I started adding my own flavor, my own roasting style to it. And after about 10 months, I said, I'm ready to take over. He goes, good, because I just found a job in New York that starts in 3 weeks. So basically, I got thrown into the fire right off the bat. Started roasting, and we were originally located behind Circuit in the McIntyre Business Park. We had one of those little booths back there, and we were just roasting. 10 to 11 wholesale accounts. I started my relationship with them, introduced myself as a business person. we started opening our doors to the community. We weren't selling any retail. Basically, what we did is we put pot of coffee on in the morning. People came in, we had a jar, they threw $2 in, grab a cup of coffee, go to the fridge. That's how they got their coffee from us. Then we started City Market. And after about 2 or 3 years, we basically got strong-armed into opening up a shop. Our first shop was on Preston Avenue, it still is. It's our roastery, it's our headquarters. The people who owned that building, I knew them in the community from just networking and stuff. They came to me and they said, we just bought this building. We would like you to be the cornerstone of the building. I didn't know anything about retail coffee. I never worked retail in my life. I was a coach. I was a PE teacher. I ran pools. I taught swimming and diving. My wife was not a college graduate. She worked in a law firm as a paralegal, never went to college. All of a sudden now we got strong-armed into opening a retail shop. So we built it out, and we've been there. I have no idea how long we've been there. It's across the street from Washington Park. And those of you in the community who have been here for a long time knew that Washington Park was not one of the nicest parks in the community. It had a reputation for some of the biggest drug deals in the city back in the 80s and early 90s. So my first question people ask me is, why are you opening up a place across from that park? I just looked at it as an opportunity to change the area, community a little bit, and make Shenandoah Joe a destination place for people to come, have a cup of coffee, meet, study, and all that. So we opened up one store. Our second store was on Ivy Road, next to where it's on Ivy Road right now. It used to be next to Arch's frozen yogurt. It was an existing coffee company called Java. The gentleman who owned it used to be a Darden School professor, closed the doors, just closed them. I got wind of it. Wasn't looking to open the second one. I just looked at the equipment, saw an opportunity, made him an offer. He took my offer. We closed it for 2 weeks, completely rechanged the concept of the coffee shop, put our coffee in there, and we've been there maybe 12, 13 years now. So I was like, going from wholesale, not knowing coffee, to opening a retail, to opening up a second one and an increasing business. So our third store was in Harrisonburg. They approached us and said, we'd like you to open up a shop here. So we opened up a shop in Harrisonburg, had staff there. And then our fourth store was on the corner, and it was like 5 coffee shops before us. And they all lasted maybe a year to 18 months. And we were there like 4 or 5 years. So we ended up with 4 stores, and probably about starting off with just my wife and I and Javier, to having 32, 33 people working for us in the 4 stores, and also in the wholesale part of the business. Our wholesale went from 11 when we first started, 11 customers. We're up to about 66, 67 wholesale customers right now. I don't do any selling. I don't go and talk to people. All of our customers have come to us through word of mouth, or people who search for coffee companies have found us on the website, talk to us. I meet with them, and that's how I've never, except for the first year when I went to introduce myself to the community, I never went out to sell our product as a company. I think that word of mouth is the best advertisement. If people want to change, then they'll start looking. So in the last year or last 2 years, we went from 4 stores down to 2 stores. It had nothing to do with when COVID hit and the pandemic started, I kept all my staff employed. We did not lay anybody off at any of our 4 stores. Matter of fact, we gave everybody a $2 an hour raise because I knew that they were gonna lose money because of number of people coming into the stores and stuff. So our first thing was, we understand you're gonna go through some hard times. We kept them all employed, $2 an hour raise. So going back, the 4 stores became 2. The Harrisonburg store was the first one that I sold. The young lady who was managing it was great. I never had to worry about the store or anything. She was phenomenal. So I said, you know what? In my head, I was like, she needs to be her own boss. She needs to have her own business, her own company. Instead of making money for me, she needs to do it for herself. So I approached her. I said, how would you like to have your own company? She asked me what I was talking about. I said, I'd like to sell you this business. She started crying. I said, you've done such a good job for me. You need to have your own place. So I sold her Shenandoah Joe in Harrisonburg. She named it her own place. The only stipulation was she continues using Shenandoah Joe and any product that she needed her to be successful. And her numbers are as good, if not better, than what they were when they're mine. So the second shop we sold was on the UVA corner. I don't know if people are familiar with the Australian Pie Guy. Local business. I've known him since he was doing carts on the mall and stuff and festivals. Minority owned guy. I said, you know what? You need to have your own business. You need to have your own brick and mortar. Gave him the same opportunity that I gave young lady over in Harrisburg. So he took it. Now he has his own business. So that's where we're at now. The crash and burn aspect of it. The crashing is, right now, the crashing is getting the people to work for the last couple of years, but that's with every business in town. That would be the biggest crash. I would say the crashing part would be, for me, trying to keep consistency with coffees coming in, since coffee is a second largest traded commodity in the world behind oil. My relationships and making sure we get consistent coffee all the time. Dealing with other businesses and stuff. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, because their aspect of coffee and mine are a little bit different. But my wife and I have been extremely blessed. We haven't had a lot of crashes or burns. We've had a lot of blessings. I have a lot of energy. I've been blessed with a lot of energy. So I average 94 hours a week and I don't bat an eye. I love what I do and I'm passionate about it. I'm a firm believer in the KISS principle. For those of you who are familiar with the KISS principle, we've had a lot of people approach us asking us why we don't do sandwiches and soups and salads and all that stuff. I go, we're a coffee company. We do coffee, and I want to do coffee really, really well, and keep bringing people to enjoy Shenandoah Joe. I judge success by how many people come back every single day to our shops. I look at our numbers every day. We average between 70 and 75% return customers 7 days a week. So that's how I judge. I don't judge it by how much we make per day. I judge it by how many people we come back and stuff. In the last 2 years, I've probably turned down 7 or 8 offers to open up other shops in and around Charlotte, New York, Chicago, Richmond, DC, here in Charlottesville. We're just really content with what we do, and we want to provide you guys with great coffee and great service. So.
Thank you so much, Dave, for sharing your story. I brought it either, but we have some questions, so we can start with those here.
My question is about working with your wife, you kind of hinted at it a couple of times, you both own the business, you clearly strong-headed.
I work for her,
You work for her, that's how you handle it?
and she's my boss.
She's your boss?
Yeah, my leash is about this long right now.
So from the beginning, did you make the decision that she was going to be the boss, or is that something that evolved over time?
Both.
Okay, tell us how it evolved.
Okay, so my wife was a Diet Coke drinker when we first started. So she would drink Diet Coke and I would drink coffee, and I would ask her to try this, and she'd spit it out. She drinks black coffee all the time, and she has a great palate for tasting stuff. Ce-2 was our third business. Our first business was the pool company. So she did all the books for that. She didn't know, she just learned how to do books by studying and stuff. My wife is a phenomenal chocolatier. She used to make her own chocolates, but due to health circumstances, she had to back off on that a little bit. And she did all the books for a long time for Ce-2. I just basically learned to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I grew up with 3 sisters and a mom. I didn't have any brothers. My father passed away when I was 18. Everything is yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And she says something, and like I said, my leash is that long, and yeah. So like I said, I had opportunities that I start leaning towards, and then the real starts bringing me back in. Because I have 10 shops right now because I have the energy to do it. But then if I did that, I wouldn't see her. And that's the important thing.
My voice doesn't carry, so I figured I'd wait for the mic. Thank you for speaking. I really loved listening to all of that. You said that you didn't have any experience with retail, so I kind of have 2 questions. One would be, what did you find to be most challenging about moving into retail? And what did you find you liked best about it, if anything?
The hardest thing that I found, and that could be, I don't know if it was a pressure, but the hardest thing was trying to find people that, since I didn't know anything, to find somebody who I could learn from to run a retail shop and learn from them. So our first manager, we were lucky. We found somebody who had coffee retail experience as a barista. And since I could manage, since I had the pool company and I could manage kids and coaching, for me, managing was easy. The retail part of coffee, and that's, again, asking questions, studying. I've been in enough coffee shops to see how they were run, so I wanted to put our spin on it, but see how other people did it and take a little bit of this. One of the things, our shop right now, or another aspect, our shop before was real small, not real small, but it was half of what it is now. The people who owned our building put it on the market to sell it. As soon as I heard it, I told them I would buy the building. So I went out and got a couple other people and approached them. So now I'm a 3rd owner in our building. So I've never gone to business school or anything. I just learned from asking questions. So we own a 3rd of our building and expanded. When we expanded, I wanted to keep the old part. So my philosophy for expanding was the old wedding saying, something borrowed, something blue, or something new, something borrowed, something blue. So the old part was the old part, The new part was the expansion, the blue was the color, and we kind of did that quirky type thing for that. So, but now I own a third of the building. So that was another thing that I learned as I went.
Are we drinking Shenandoah juice coffee soon? I have a real question though. You briefly alluded to the challenge that many businesses face right now at hiring people and holding on to them. I was curious how you're managing that and overcoming.
So again, going back to being blessed and stuff, we have about 4 or 5 employees that have been with us like 6, 7 years. Again, it's relationships, treating people. If you see something that is right in front of you and you kind of like, you don't want it to go. So you do the best you can. Treat them with, I treat everybody with respect the way I would like to be treated. So we do that. They're like part of family and stuff. We are lucky enough, we have a vacation home. So we offer our vacation home the weekends for staff once a year and stuff. They can take 3 days off and you have the house for free. Doesn't cost us anything since we own it. It gives them an opportunity to get away. Sending them to trade shows, giving them the opportunity to mingle with other people, give them opportunities. So the hard part is trying to find people right now. I had one girl that said, I can come in and give you 40 hours a week. And this was maybe a month ago. She lasted 3 days because working was too stressful in the coffee shop. And I said, was it too stressful working in the coffee shop or was it too stressful working for me? So, like the gentleman said earlier, I come from South Side of Chicago, inner city. So 2 colors, black and white. I was brought up my dad was a Marine drill sergeant. I grew up learning that you either did it or you didn't do it. And if you did it, it was 100%. And if you didn't do it, it was 99%. So, but just trying to treat people with respect. We always keep a hiring sign on the front of the cash register because with Charlottesville being such a transient town, you never know if somebody's going to come in because their husband is doing his doctorate at UVA and they've had 3 years of coffee experience before. It's like, come on in. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear more about Dave too, you're actually in quite a number of podcasts and interviews and things like that. If you just Google him, but that I know in the I Love Seaville, Jerry Miller, you talked all about your dad.
Yeah.
And the Marine background in that foundation.
And then going back, what she said about toy lift and stuff, we're firm believers in giving back to the community. The community has blessed us with coming in, getting coffee every day. So my wife and I give back to community. I run Toy Lift. We're involved in the Children's Hospital. We do a lot of drives throughout the year and stuff, but we believe that they've been so good to us that we need to reciprocate back to the community.
Anybody else have a question? One more, okay. Did you raise your hand?
Yeah.
Do you want to say it and I'll repeat it?
I'll try to. So.
It's downhill.
You might get specific that all in that.
Discipline.
I'm gonna repeat it. So for the people on podcast,
Okay.
so we asked if Dave draws anything from being an athlete and a coach for running a business.
Discipline. Routines. I'm in the shop every morning between 4 and 4:15. To get ready. 7 days a week. I sleep in on Sundays till 5. But Monday through Saturday, I'm usually in the shop between 4 and 4:15. Like all business owners, the business owner has an eye that the employees don't have. Even their managers, they don't have the same eye as an owner does. So I see stuff that needs to get done before we open. So I'll go through the shop and do all that stuff before we even open up. But yeah, discipline. A lot of it came from my old man being a Marine and being disciplined and learning to work hard. So I think I'm a firm believer that what goes around comes around. So I work hard and our customers see that and I appreciate their business. So I think going back about retaining people, somebody asked me why I'm the only roaster there. And it's not because I don't want somebody else to learn how to roast. I just want I want at least a 2-year commitment because I'm teaching somebody a trade where they can go anywhere in the country and start their own company and their own business. If I train somebody, I want them to stick around for a little bit as opposed to learning and then saying sayonara, going someplace else, because then that'd be a waste of my time. So, and I would find out, I had a couple of people, but they burned me, so.
That's a lesson.
Yep,
Okay.
that's why I learned to ask for a 2-year commitment and so.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Dave, about your marketing, how you expanded your audience, you mentioned that it was largely organic, like people come to you, wholesale reps. But I've heard you people on the radio, I see you at a farmer's market. What other marketing strategy have you wanted to be successful?
That's it. That's it. We've had Mr. Archer, how are you, sir? So the jingle, so I would go back to marketing. Brad Year, who owned, so the radio stations, 3WV, Z95 and all that. Brad Year used to own it, local guy in the community. I taught his sons how to swim.
Clay's bad, right?
I taught them how to swim. And one of the first things we got approached, so I approached them about us being the coffee for the morning show. And they thought it was a great idea. And we've been with them since '93. I've had other people approach us. I said, you know what, these guys have been great to me. I'm extremely loyal. They've been great to me. That jingle's been around like since the '90s. And I have so many people who hate me. And the reason why they hate me is because it's 6:45 in the morning and their alarm goes off and it's 97.5. And the first thing they hear is my stupid voice and my jingle and stuff. And they're like, you know, they come into the shop and they're like, I hate you. So, but honestly, just that and a city market, nothing else. I mean, we'll do an occasional magazine here in town just to let people know we have new coffees coming in. But for me to go and sell, I'm not a salesperson. I let my product and our service do the selling.
Well, thank you so much, Dave.
Thanks,
I appreciate
guys.
you coming in. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap up with announcements. And we'll start with our host, and then you guys can announce if there's an upcoming event or if your company is hiring. Okay, so let's start with the CSC and SBDC ladies. And then we'll have Craig after that. You guys are doing both organizations, right? CIC, you're doing both with SBDC also?
There she sings.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah. I've seen a lot of you here before. Hannah Deal. I'm the operations coordinator at CIC, otherwise known as Community Investment Collaborative. We are a nonprofit that helps small businesses and entrepreneurs. We offer an entrepreneurship workshop, which is one of the main things that we do. That's 16 weeks each year. We offer it twice a year. We also hold a resource fair. We do mentoring. We have a financial management program. And we work very closely with the SBDC, or the Small Business Development Center, which is what Shira will be talking about after me. And for announcements right now, we have the resource fair coming up September 28th. We've got one of our volunteers here in the audience, which is great. Okay, let's feedback this side. We are going to be doing this resource fair in collaboration with the city for Minority Business Month. So we're hoping to get a lot of attendees. This is going to be September 28th from 12 to 4 p.m. at City Space. This is going up on the website in the next couple of days. So if you are interested in attending, or if you know someone who needs some free one-on-one assistance, which is what this provides, please check out our website, cicville.org. And then the only other announcement we have is CIC 10 will be happening this November. We're celebrating 10 years in business, which is very exciting. So we're planning a big event at the Ix Art Park, and more information will be coming out about that soon as well. We do have a newsletter sign-up sheet at the front. So if you're not getting our newsletter but are interested in getting it, please come back, put your email down, and we'll get you that list. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shira Goldbein, and I am the Invest Coordinator at the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, or CBSBDC, otherwise known as the worst acronym. And we are hiring. We are looking for a new senior business advisor / assistant director. So if you are interested, or if you know anyone who's interested, I've got a sheet up on the registration table that has a QR code that has our job description. Shamelessly, I will say we are wonderful to work with. It's really fun team. And for anyone that doesn't know about the SBDC, it is a national network. It's part of the SBA. So we get our funding from SBA programming, as well as local governments and sponsors. So we are part of the Virginia SBDC networks. We have access to a whole team of advisors and technical experts throughout the state and country. We have access to all sorts of research tools, and our services are provided free of charge to our clients. So we partner in events like this. We offer one-on-one business advising. It's our flagship offering. So basically, you reach out to the SBDC, you say, I have this kind of business, I'm looking for this kind of help, and we connect you with one of our expert business advisors, and they can help you with whatever it is you need. And then if you end up needing additional help, we connect you with another one of our advisors. So we've got a whole team. We work really collaboratively and with CIC as well and other resource partners. I am not going to try to tell you my email. It's really difficult, but I do have business cards if you'd like to get in touch. And the newsletter sign up that Hannah mentioned is at the registration table, has all three of our newsletters. So CIC, CBIT, and SBDC. If you're interested in getting any of them that you're not, you can sign up for one or all three. And thank you all for being here. Thanks so much.
Sure. Just one thing I wanted to add, if you are able to sign up before you come, that would be awesome. We are of course happy to have you, even if you don't sign up, but it just helps us keep track of numbers and we can look back and add all of that. So if you can remember for next time, awesome.
And that website is ce2.squarespace.com. Just a minute. Choose your primary.
Greg Winnick, I am going to make two announcements on behalf of Civic, trade for Tracy Green, so you can believe it's right. Two things. One, we have a golf tournament, a fundraiser golf tournament. If you play golf, you should be there. If you don't play golf, you can go anyway because it's best ball. It's kind of fun to ride around the cart and a lot of fun. Take it from me. So Anyway, so that's October 10th. You can sign up now. All the information is at cvilleinnovation.org, our website. You can check it out, get forces together, get your company sponsor for some. It's a lot of fun, it really is. And if you're an up and coming entrepreneur, we have Innovators Row. We do something really interesting in the golf tournament. At each of the holes, we have an entrepreneur, innovator, new company, sets up a little table there, talks to everybody as they come through. It was really great last year, worked out really well, learned a lot while we were sitting around, and I think that the innovators had a great experience too. So if you're inclined to do that, also you can go find out more information. The other thing is we're back with the CVIC Tech Tour, which is an amazing event. And those of you who may not be familiar with it, I think we had 60 or 70 companies. I don't know how many companies, mostly technology companies, but they can be any other kind of company that might be interested, that people might be interested in. What we do is we take high school students who end up touring these companies, learning about them, becoming aware of them, the companies, connect with the community, connect with young people who may be aspiring to look for work or think about their careers and things of that nature. So it's really a great experience. So if you're a company that would like to be part of that tour, or you would like to support it, or you would like to volunteer and work with us on it, you can also get information at our website, Ce-2. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Right, and then, out in the audience, any upcoming events, or you can also convey if your company is hiring. Yeah, okay.
This is, we're looking for produce great content. Video and
Awesome, cool. Very good opportunity. Anybody else? Okay, I am a recruiter at the same time, so I always have things I'm looking for. So right now, I'm looking for a product manager in medical device space. I was gonna message you. And then also still looking for a financial advisor, an associate, or somebody who wants to take on an existing book, so you don't necessarily have to go out and grow a business. You can partner with a senior advisor or member to initially take over this book completely. It's a great opportunity. So if you know anyone that I should talk to, please do reach out to me for that one, for both of them. And I'm looking for some developers there. That's the Texas opportunity. So, okay, that is it. We will be back here the 3rd Tuesday of September, right here at Code. And definitely sign up for newsletters so you remember. Make sure it's on the calendar for recurring every month except for December. So with that, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for our 2 speakers, and we will see you next month. Tell your friends, bring them back.